Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? What is up? We are now live. Yes, we are now live here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. It is we're also live over on Kick, by the way. But if you guys want to join also on Kick, it is Tuesday. April the 29th. And this is another live edition of the Raw Rundown here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel and as well over on the Around the Point Network's Kick channel as well. Yes, if you have Kick, link to the Kick account is also in the description box below as well. We're trying to get that also going too, by the way. So there you go. You know, we're live on YouTube and we're live over on Kick. What's going on, everyone? It's me. It's Steve. I'm back at it again. I'm doing this solo today. But if you are, again, new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. If you are live over on Kick, hit the follow button there as well. We're trying to grow that also and all that stuff. So, yes, I know I'm a little late here. I apologize. My computer decided to act up. Just when I'm going live and ready to do this, my computer is like, fuck you, bro. Fuck you. You're going to go live when I tell you to go live. So there you go with that. But this is the Raw review for April the 28th, 2020. It was the Raw edition, the Raw episode for April 28th, 2025. It's crazy to think, right? What's going on? Yeah, welcome, Philip. Thank you. Yeah, brother. I had issues with my computer. It was acting up. And yeah, man, it was being a bitch towards me. But we are live now. Now we're live. We're live on YouTube and we're live over on Kick. For those of you out there that want to join also on Kick, you're more than welcome to as well. We're trying to grow that also. I hate being repetitive with it, but yeah, man, it's crazy to think, right? Like, yo, WrestleMania just passed like literally 2 weeks ago. It feels like not even like a week ago, right? And it just passed by, it just flew by, and now here we are. Now we're on the road to Backlash, and I thought last night's episode of Raw, for the most part, as far as the story progression is concerned, I thought it was very, very solid. I thought the show overall, I thought it was, again, enjoyable show for the most part. Let me know in the chat what was your thoughts on the show. What did you like? What did you not like? And all that fun stuff as well. But yeah, man, look, Sami Zayn, all he had to do, man, let's be honest here. Sami Zayn, all he had to do was make a simple decision and join Seth Rollins and his vision, right? His vision. And he told Seth Rollins at the end of the night to go to hell. I love this thumbnail, by the way. Javier really killed it with this thumbnail. So if you're on Kick and you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, Javier, which is like our quote unquote graphic designer, killed it with this one. So there's that as well. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me well as well. I'm pretty sure my mic is on, but I just want to make sure for the most part too. So I should be good to go. I should be good for the most part. So yeah. Um, well, let me know your thoughts on Raw. What did you like? What did you not like? And all that fun stuff. For the most part, Cage Match gave the show a 7.55 for the most part. And the best thing on the show for them, as far as the wrestling is concerned, was Braun Breaker versus versus Sami Zayn. So there was that too. But again, I thought the show, for the most part, as far as storyline progression, it was, again, it was a very, very solid show. The main story was obviously Sami Zayn making his decision. Was he going to align himself with Seth Rollins and the Vision? I'll say this too, for the most part, I do feel like, Sammy's, the group as a whole, like they've been calling it the Vision. I really do feel like, honestly, they should call themselves the Vision. However, I will say this. I do think that you need to add more people to this group. Yes, you have Paul Heyman. Yes, you have Braun Breaker, who's like supposed to be your future, and you do have Seth Rollins, who's that veteran, right? I know people have been throwing out ideas, maybe put in there a Becky Lynch. She is a heel now, after all, and that could possibly work too. Or if not, also add in Austin Theory as well. People have been saying Austin Theory and all that stuff. So that's another possibility as well. But we'll see how that story progresses. If they do add more members and all that stuff, we'll see. But the show kicked off, obviously. By the way, Raw was live, by the way, from the T-Mobile Center. So last week's Raw, which was the Raw after Mania, it was live from the T-Mobile Arena. Now here they are in the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. The crowd too. I'm gonna just say this: the crowd was very, very weird, man. Very, they're the heels in this shit, bro. They are the fucking heels in this story, in this whole thing. Because, like, bro, the heels were loved. The heels, holy shit, they couldn't do anything. They were being cheered for everything. Holy crap, bro. So the show opened up with obviously everyone showing up to the building and all that stuff. But it opened up with, Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker to start the show. And like I mentioned before, the fans were giving them this huge babyface reaction. It's like, bro, Seth Rollins can't do no wrong, bro, in the eyes of the people, bro. Even though, like, yo, did you not see what he did at WrestleMania, right? He aligned himself with Paul Heyman, right? He tried to make CM Punk's life a living hell, Roman Reigns' life a living hell on the road to WrestleMania, and they still cheer this guy. It's crazy, right? And Rollins reiterates that he won the main event of WrestleMania, and he says that there's these two by his side, that being Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker, and that the future runs through him, right? And then Sami Zayn showed up, and he says that Rollins is basically full of shit. And Seth continues to call the group the Vision, like I mentioned before, for the future, right? And then Sami Zayn went on to say that he's hypocritical, and he now realized that Seth wanted what Punk and Roman had with Paul Heyman. And Rollins says that if Sami can't get on the same page with them, he should go to SmackDown, and they will give him until the end of the night to make his decision. Right. So that was the main story. What was Sami Zayn going to do? Was he going to align himself? Is he going to align himself with Seth Rollins and the Vision? Was he going to do that? That was the question, right? We had to wait and see. And throughout the night, you've seen him talking with people, right? telling him, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Will he join the Vision? Will he go on? Will he say no and go to SmackDown? From the looks of it, I think he is probably going to SmackDown. From the looks of it, who knows? But obviously, we saw what happened at the end of the night. He told him to go to hell after getting his basically beat up, basically getting the shit kicked out of him by Braun Breaker. Let me see what you guys wrote in the chat. Phil writes here, I knew Braun was quick, but seeing him run live really shows how insanely quick he is. Oh, wow. You were there live in the building last time, my boy? Let me know, bro. Let me know. Chief writes here, great storytelling episode of Raw. So I guess Julia and Stephanie are now called up. That's kind of weird, right? And I'm going to get to that in a little bit because maybe so. I don't know, really. I mean, who knows? Maybe Stephanie can pull double duty. I mean, Kevin Owens did it at one point, so I don't see why not. Phil writes here, I strongly agree with heating up more members, especially with the amount of people in catering right now. Raw is T-Mobile. Yes, it is. This is coming from heel Steven. Yeah, it is. I guess so. I think this is the biggest issue with the Vision. Seth is too likable and Braun is too cool. That's the thing about it too, right? But again, the crowd last night is just so confusing. I'm on break. This is from Alan, the working man. I'm on break from work to stop by to say, what's up, Steve? Hope you are having a great day. And Raw was good. Indeed, it was, the working man. Thank you for stopping by, brother. That's what's up, bro. That was up. I hope you enjoyed yourself for the most part. I hope you did. But that's the thing, right? Like you wanted to see, will Seth Rollins, my bad, will Sami Zayn align himself, right? And that was the main story of the entire show. Okay. So I thought overall the opening segment for the most part was good. I do think they should call themselves the Vision, right? It rolls off the tongue, and I can see them doing merchandise and all that stuff, and maybe add again 2 more people to the group, maybe a woman, maybe Becky Lynch, maybe Austin Theory, or like Phil said, anyone that they have in catering right now, or maybe Karrion Kross. You know, Karrion Kross did speak to Sami Zayn later on in the night, right? And Karrion Kross did come off very aggressive in that backstage promo after WrestleMania, right? He will fit in like a glove in that group, but we'll see how that goes. We did have the opening match. We did have Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, this is probably Roxanne's Perez's debut. You know, she's officially main roster, right? I know she last Monday on Raw, there was a photograph that surfaced where I guess in her boot or something, there was like a logo Raw debut. Even though she's wrestled on Raw before. Was it after the Royal Rumble, I think it was, or something like that? So for the most part, maybe this is a main roster call-up. I don't know. I would hope so for the most part. But I thought the match for what it was, you know, it was fine. You know, there was a moment in the match where Rhea was selling her, she was basically out there, you know, in the match, and she was selling her leg, you know? And throughout the match, you would literally thought, hey, she might be hurt, she might be injured. But the match ended in a disqualification. Midway through the match, Julia showed up to distract Ripley, and she attacked. Obviously, she ended up attacking Rhea Ripley, and the match ended. And then Io Sky came to save Ripley to even the odds, right? And sending Roxanne and Julia scurrying. But there's that whole thing. Like, you remember last week when Rhea, you know, gave her the belt, gave Io Sky the title. For the most part, look, Julia versus Rhea Ripley, sign me up. I do think, though, if we're being honest here, as far as the women are concerned, right? Because I know people are like wondering, hey, this is a main roster call up and all that stuff. I'm honestly hoping we're getting the Messiah Rollins out of his heel character, not liking the goofy stuff. Out Rollins, stuff out of Rollins, can't take him seriously. Honestly, fair. I'm honestly not sure why he turned heel. Why he turned heel, that means. There's another thing too, like, yeah, you can't take Rollins serious with this stuff, bro. Like look at the thumbnail, bro. Look at the amazing work that Javier did on this thumbnail. Like, look at his glasses, bro. Look at Rollins' glasses. Look at this. He's wearing this high-end, expensive ass robe. he's hitting the curb stop and loafers and all that stuff. It's very crazy for the most part, right? It's very, very crazy. I want to see how many of you guys, and for the most part, again, guys, I know I'm being repetitive with this, but we're also live over on Kick. We do have the link to that in the description box. If you do have a Kick account, follow us there. We're trying to grow that also. Somewhere down the road, we will be doing live streams only on Kick eventually. Not fully, but we'll be also exploring Kick as well. Because sometimes YouTube can be very, very sensitive to things, and Kick can be very laid back. Just to give you the heads up, all right? But head over there too. Oh, I meant the audience. Yeah, the audience was very weird, man. The audience was very fucking weird. But I want to go back to the women real quick, because the women, I feel like, honestly, I do believe Julia and Roxanne are on their way up to they're now main roster bound. I do feel like they are now main roster bound for sure. I know people are wondering, is Stephanie Vaquer? Look, she could probably do double duty for the most part, which is totally fine too. But I'll be honest, if I can, I do feel like, honestly, I will just leave it to Julia and Roxanne Perez. I would keep Stephanie Vaquer on NXT. Look, she is ready for main roster, but if you look at that women's division on NXT right now, it's stacked. I'm not talking stacked Lorenzo from NXT, but it's stacked. You do have, Jordan Grace. You do have Jada Parker, she's on the rise for the most part. You also do have Fallon Henley, right? The Fatal Influence group for the most part. You do have Sol Ruka, who just won the Women's North American Championship, right? So you do have a good roster, but you also want that star power too. And you just have Jordan Grace, who technically is the star, right? That the big name. So I think by having still Stephanie Vaquer in the division, in that brand, it even things out. So honestly, you don't want to send everyone right away. I would keep Stephanie Vaquer on NXT. But then again, she, for the most part, for all we know, she's probably doing double duty. I mean, I do remember a time when Kevin Owens did double duty when he debuted on the main roster. He was the NXT champion. He feuded with John Cena, right? If you also remember Sasha Banks, now Mercedes Moné, when she made her way to the main roster, she was also, what's it called? She was, basically the NXT Women's Champion when she debuted with Charlotte, Becky, and formed, and did the whole thing where they debuted, and Sasha was part of Team Bad and all that stuff. What's going on? Our first comment over here on Kick. What's going on, brother? Hello, Lit RFC. What's going on, brother? Hope all's well with you. Hope you're having a good one, man. Hope you're having a good one. But yeah, I mean, look, man. Let me get back to. I know I went on a tangent here, but if you get what I'm saying, right? From there, we did get Logan Paul. He comes out and he makes a statement. My guy, that's right. The Maverick, my boy, the Maverick, man. Logan fucking Paul. After humiliating AJ Styles at WrestleMania, mop the floor with him. AJ's not the same. He is not the same person, okay? He's not the same person. He shows up, that being now Logan Paul, right? Shows up, and you know what? He is basically there to challenge Jey Uso for the world title. And Jey Uso comes out, and Logan says that he's going to make sure he loses his title faster than he lost the Intercontinental title. And Jey says that after what he saw Gunther do to his twin, there's a fire in him that will never be put out. And he ends up super kicking Logan Paul. So disrespectful by Jey Uso. Man, Jey Uso honestly should kiss it goodbye. Enjoy it now. Now, this got a lot of people talking on the internet. A lot of people were very, very, como se dice, feeling some type of way, if you will. A lot of people were not happy with the idea of Logan Paul challenging Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title. I get it. A lot of people don't like Logan Paul. It's clear to me that a lot of you guys don't see the vision. And I'm not just saying vision as Seth Rollins' group, but a lot of y'all don't see the vision on the greatness of Logan Paul. I said this at Look, I said this in our section that we were sitting in at WrestleMania when Logan Paul was wrestling AJ Styles and Logan was doing all these amazing moves. Yo, Will Ospreay wishes he could do the move that Logan Paul is doing. Kenny Omega wishes he had the aura of Logan Paul. But in all seriousness, guys, again, a lot of you are upset. Look, I get it. Y'all don't like Logan Paul. Y'all don't like the guy. It is what it is. Okay. But I will say this about Logan Paul. When that bell rings, that guy can go. In all seriousness, when that bell rings, homeboy can go. He can wrestle his ass off. He can have good matches. Now, granted, the WrestleMania match, for the most part, was it good? It was all right, to be honest. But out of all the matches that Logan has had on since showing up to WWE, this is probably like on the scale here. But for the most part, look, I do feel that Jey and Logan can go out there. And the other thing too, I think the knock on Jey is he really can't be the guy to guide for a good match, right? He's not the general, the ring general here. Like, no pun intended to Gunther. So people are like, "Oh, this is bullshit. I might quit watching." I hear that all the time, by the way. If I had $1 for everyone that I have heard in this community since the time I've been doing this, like video content and all this stuff since 2010, if I had $1 for everyone that have said, "Oh, I'll stop watching WWE," by now, I'd be a millionaire right now. I'd be swimming in a beach in Tulum right now, sipping on a fucking Paloma. Just saying. Exactly. Good guy Logan is going to give the rub to Jey. This is a good, listen, and for Jey Uso, man, look, it's not official yet. It's not official, okay? But I'm under the impression that at Backlash, we will get Logan Paul and Jey Uso. It likely will happen at Backlash for the title. And when that happens, and if you're Jey Uso, you're going up against the Maverick, Logan Paul. You know what that means, people, for Jey Uso?
Payday. You want
payday, buddy. Payday. Come on, y'all. And people want to hate on it. It's ridiculous, yo. Fucking ridiculous. What a shame, right? But after this, we did get, because backstage earlier in the night, we did see like the Judgment Day, right? And obviously JD McDonough is back. And, Finn Balor wishes he was notified about this. He wishes that they told him that, hey, that means JD, because that is his longtime friend. He wishes he would have told Finn Balor that he was going to, be there and all that stuff. And even though JD told Dom, right? But again, everything's, for the most part, there seemed to be still some trouble within the Judgment Day. The notion that Dom is a champion, Liv and Raquel are champions for now, even though Liv's about to go film a movie real soon. So we don't know how long that run will last. We don't know. And it's like, yo, Finn Balor is the odd man out here right now. He doesn't have a title. Neither does Carlito for the most part. But even though Carlito at the end of the segment where they're all like trying to like get things straightened out and all that shit, Carlito said even he needs to win a title. Give Carlito, honestly, give him the speed title. Give him the speed title at this point of the game. Why not? Give him the fucking speed title. I will say that. But obviously, Liv did say that, hey, JD McDonough basically got a match made for him and Finn to challenge the War Raiders and, to get into the hunt for the tag team titles. And we got the match. And obviously, you had Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods on commentary for this. And they would inadvertently get involved in the physicality. The War Raiders aren't finished with them yet. And then somewhere in this match, it looked like the Judgment Day had this in the back, and then Penta attacked, I think it was JD, and this led to the War Raiders to get the win. So there's still some trouble. There's still some dissension in the Judgment Day for the most part. Seth, right? What's going on, Seth? Heel one-on-one. The heel should not give the fans what they want. Absolutely. Absolutely, Seth. You are on the money on that one, my man. On the fucking money on that one. So from there, we proceed to see Paul Heyman sitting down, trying to talk to Sami Zayn, right? And Sami Zayn tells him, he sits down with Sami and he tells him that they have already arranged that if he agrees to go to SmackDown at the end of the night, he'll get an immediate undisputed championship opportunity against the winner of John Cena and Randy Orton at Backlash. Otherwise, Braun Breaker wants a match with him. And he also referenced that, hey, you know what? They are both OG bloodline. And even though Sami Zayn, I said Logan, I don't know why, but Sami Zayn told Paul Heyman, you know what? What you did at WrestleMania, you basically destroyed what was left of the bloodline, right? So Sami still has his big decision. And even though, again, throughout the night, you even saw Karrion Kross trying to speak to Sami Zayn to make the right decision, even though I personally feel, and I said this earlier, and I'm going to say this again, I do feel that Karrion Kross will be a good fit for this new vision group that Seth Rollins has with Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker. One man's opinion, but we'll see. We did see Becky Lynch come out, and you got to remember at WrestleMania, Bayley was attacked, right? Out of the blue, she was attacked. No one knew what the fuck happened, right? And people were wondering who attacked Bayley. Who attacked Bayley, right? Well, the mystery is over. There's no need to do investigations. There's no need for fan cams or anything like that, or footage or anything like that from the parking lot. Nothing, because Bayley, we found out, was attacked by Becky Lynch. She revealed it herself, right? She said Becky says that she's been getting attacked by Bayley since 2019. It was going to show Bayley what a bigger star looked like at WrestleMania. As for turning on Valkyria, she went on to say that the friend of my enemy is my enemy. She mentioned being disappointed by Valkyria. And then obviously Lyra Valkyria showed up. And you could just tell that she was still a little bit shaken by what happened. Valkyria said that everyone tried to warn her about Becky being selfish. That darn Becky Hogan. But she didn't believe it because she was wrapped up in the fairy tale of Irish women's tag team champions. And she tried to fight Becky, but Becky backed out of the ring. And then Lyra immediately said that she will put the Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line at Backlash. And Becky agreed. Now, keep in mind, right? Lyra has a win over Becky. She did beat Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship back in NXT a while back. So you would say the advantage is obviously Lyra Valkyria if you're going based off that, right? But obviously it's for Backlash, and Becky agreed. Lyra said that she's no longer interested in the next Becky Lynch. She's interested in being a better person than Becky Lynch. And then they fought a little bit, and Lyra stood tall before Becky attacked her from behind by the entrance area. No lie, I was cringing through the entire Becky and Lyra segment. Felt like I was watching Disney Channel. And why is the champion challenging the challenger? I think for Lyra is like she wants to prove a point that I am no longer this intimidated person. She just wants to fight Becky for what Becky did to her. And like I mentioned moments ago, Lyra Valkyria has a win over Becky Lynch. She did beat her at NXT for the NXT Women's Championship when Becky was the champion. So you could say from advantage could be towards, Lyra Valkyria, even though I do feel like obviously Bet Online will have Lyra Valkyria as an underdog for the most part. But yeah, she does have that win over her. And guess what? Becky, like I mentioned before, agreed, and they're going to run it back. They're going to run it back at Backlash for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Look, let's just keep it a buck. Lara Valkyria is just a good wrestler. That's it. She's a good wrestler that is holding the title. That's all that it is. Nothing else, nothing much, nothing else. That's all that it is. She's a good wrestler that's holding the title, and that's it. I do feel like, honestly, you can have Lara win. That's fine. But I would prefer, you know what? Let Becky get the win here. Give Becky a run with this title. Elevate this title, because let's be honest right now. Is anyone here going crazy for the Women's Intercontinental Championship? Oh, wait. Go. Tell me. No one is. Nobody. No pop. Whenever there's a Women's Intercontinental Championship match on television, let's just keep it a buck.
Exactly. No pop.
You know? By having Becky winning the belt, it elevates, because Becky is a bigger name, right? Is the bigger name. And you know what? You can have this lengthy program, and at the end of it, Becky can do the honors and drop the title back to Lara Valkyria. And if this means it can help elevate Lara Valkyria, so be it. It also factor in, it also shows how many people don't watch on the main, people who watch the main roster show, the casual viewers, don't really watch NXT. They don't watch it. You know what I mean? Like, they do the whole bird chant, but that's because it's a chant. That's all it is. You know? It's also kind of weird, too. Like, we're talking about the women here. Like, Julia and Roxanne Perez are a team. Even though in NXT, if you remember, they're both, you know, they have a win over each other. Like, that never happened. But you want me to believe now that they're a team. But they were at one point feuding for the women's title on NXT as well. That being Julia and Roxanne Perez. It's crazy. Fucking crazy. Becky saying for months there's no need for the IC and US Championship. They literally get no love from creative. Yeah, pretty much. Becky winning the title, brother. Yeah, that darn Becky Hogan. She's going to be running wild, brother. Running wild. After this, we did see Nick Aldis. He spoke to Penta backstage because Nick Aldis was filling in for Adam Pearce. Just filling in for him. And Nick Aldis told Penta that he wouldn't find him, but he would give him a match with JD McDonough next week, which is official, right? As Adam Pearce would say, the Raw general manager. Next week, it will be, obviously, Penta versus JD McDonough. Should be a fun match for the most part. And then after this, Chad Gable was confronted Penta, and who bragged about Rey Fenix losing to El Grande Americano at WrestleMania, and Penta kicked him in the chest for his brother. And, and somewhere in this, Penta referenced the Lucha Brothers. So here's what we know. When the day comes that Penta and Rey Fenix do team up again, they will be called the Lucha Brothers in WWE. Unless, like, Penta was in the moment, right? Because, like, yeah, this guy just fucking disrespected his brother. And let's be honest, any of us who have a sibling, we would go to the further, we would go beyond the limit to defend our loved one, our sibling, right? And in the moment, Penta said the Lucha Brothers. Again, I just hope that's what it is. They call them the Lucha Brothers once they decide to team up. Davion, right? That Becky Hilton was very rushed, in my opinion. Yeah, it kind of was, but at the same time, it's like, yo, look, if you're gonna have a turn heel, might as well be at Raw after Mania. You know, one of the biggest Raw of the year, and it's gonna get people talking and stuff like that. So I think that's why they did it, to be honest with you. For the most part. From this, after we got a Rusev vignette. A vignette for Rusev. And he explained that he fell into the abyss, that being AEW, on the way back to Bulgaria after leaving WWE. No, he was actually in AEW being a redeemer, right? But again, he fell into the abyss. I guess the abyss now is AEW, right? After leaving WWE, he healed himself, and now he plans to heal the rest of the roster who waste their talent as he once did when he took his career for granted. He talked about no longer waving a flag, no longer having the woman. He's by himself. He's focused, right? He's focused. And they also showed clips of Tosawa and Otis and all that stuff. And it's basically, his gimmick in AEW without calling himself the Redeemer. That's basically what it is in WWE right now. Which, by the way, next week it will be Rusev in his Raw return, his return to a match on Monday Night Raw since 2020 against Otis. Should be a fun match for the most part, but I do think obviously Rusev will get the win here. He has to get a win. So there's that. But I hope for his sake it goes better for him now, right? Rusev killed in this vignette very well. He did. I'm not saying it was a bad vignette. I'm just pointing out some of the things like, yeah, bro, like you're basically this Redeemer gimmick that you were in AEW, now in WWE with better production. And obviously he's referring to the Abyss, even though, again, the Abyss was AEW, where he was a TNT champion, and he didn't want to do jobs. So now whatever he was doing in AEW is not going to fly in WWE for the most part. Yes, we gained the Redeemer on WWE TV. Let's fucking go. Yeah, pretty much. From there, we did see Stephanie Vaquer versus Ivy Nile. Again, I thought overall, for the most part, it was a fun match. Obviously, Stephanie Vaquer did do the Devil's Kiss multiple times, and she did pick up the win. Again, I don't think it's completely a main roster call-up. I just feel like, hey, let's feature Stephanie Vaquer. She is on NXT, the Tuesday show. You want to get some people to tune in to what she does on Tuesday. But I just don't think it's a main roster call-up. Unless it is, and she's doing double duty, so be it. I said this earlier in this. I said this earlier in the review. If it was up to me, I just keep it to Roxanne Perez and Julia as the main roster call-ups from NXT. I would have Stephanie Vaquer still be on NXT because, again, yes, the women's division on NXT, again, it's stacked, right? For the most part, you have, like I mentioned before, Jordan Grace. You have Sol Ruka, who just won the women's North American title. You have Kalani Jordan. You do have, obviously, Fallon Henley and the Fatal Influence. You have the Metaphor, who are also coming into their own. Zarya, and so on and so forth, right? But I do feel like, again, keeping Stephanie Vaquer at NXT is the smart move for now. And then eventually make her debut, make her have her official, that's it, main roster bound by next year's time. But we'll see. We'll see how they go about this. Stephanie Vaquer has aura. Yes, she does. She does. As a Peruvian, I'll admit she's the only Chilean I'll accept. So there you go. The women's we're getting time on the show. Man, I'd love to see it. Yeah, me too. For the most part, as a guy who's supposed to hate women's wrestling, I love the fact that they got time. Right. So, by the way, yeah, like they got about under 10 minutes. By the way, Rhea Ripley and Roxanne that went to a disqualification had almost 12 minutes. So it was cool to see. It was cool to see for the most part. After this, we did see, like I mentioned before, we went back to Nick Aldis. And this time in his office was AJ Styles. And then was interrupted by Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Dominic Mysterio, where Liv requested time off to film a Hollywood movie, which Aldis did approve, while Dominic also asked for time off, but was denied, as Aldis reminded him that champions are expected to work more after Dom taunted Styles by threatening to retire him and mocking his father. Styles fired back with a threat of his own. As the Judgment Day left, Styles hinted at knowing what he wants to do next, and all this said he was picking up on the vibe. Pretty much AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio, which honestly, look, from a wrestling standpoint, if you want to elevate Dominic more, get him the rub, right, by beating an established name in AJ Styles, so be it. You want Dominic to play like this chicken shit heel, right? so be it. As champion, go for it, right? But at the same time, if we're looking at this from a realist standpoint, right? AJ Styles lost at WrestleMania. He lost. So he is in no position after being embarrassed by my guy, the Maverick, Logan Paul. He's in no position to even hint of the idea of challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. No, buddy, back in the line, buddy. You go back, you got to work your way back to getting a title match. That's what I think. Champions work often. Logan Lesnar, Roman work part-time. You make a point. You make a good point there, Chief. Logan Paul, my guy, the Maverick, the greatest U.S. champ of all time. Better than Harley Race. Better than, Wahoo McDaniels. Better than Lex Luger. Better than any U.S. champ from the past. Rick Rude, you name it. The greatest U.S. champ of all time, the Maverick, Logan Paul. Again, man, he's on, again, he works when he wants. Nothing wrong with that. Roman Reigns, he's earned that schedule. Brock Lesnar, big stars. Come on, man. Big stars. But again, I don't think AJ should be even requesting to challenge for the title. It's so silly. After this, we did get Karrion Kross. Like I mentioned before, he told Sami they had a big decision to make, and he hoped he made the right one. From there, we got Pat McAfee cutting a promo about how he wants to be remembered when he dies. Because if you remember last week, Gunther went off, right? And he attacked Michael Cole, and then Pat McAfee, because that's his best friend, defended Michael Cole and went at it with Gunther and got choked out. If you remember, Michael Cole was saying that, something needs to be done in protecting announcers for voicing their opinion because they can't just be attacked. Because you remember, in 2010, I don't know how many of you remember this, but in 2010, you guys remember a certain former world champion, Daniel Bryan attacked Michael Cole in NXT, right? I'm sure Michael Cole is having flashbacks to 2010 NXT when this was happening last week. Or if not, Heidenreich, on SmackDown, no Diddy. So basically, this all led to, Pat McAfee calling out Nick Aldis and says he would want a match with Gunther. Because keep in mind, Gunther is suspended and it was fined a high amount of money, right? So high, the fine was so high that you could probably, with that money that he had to pay, you could probably pay to sit in the front row for 2 nights of SummerSlam at MetLife Stadium. That's how much this man had to pay. Incredible. Incredible. Holy shit. But basically, Nick Aldis said that he would not lift the suspension, but he will sanction a match between him and Gunther at Backlash. So it is going to happen. At Backlash, it will be Pat McAfee versus Gunther. Now, look, I know a lot of people are upset about this. People are like, oh, why is Gunther being reduced to challenging and announce, a commentator? This is bullshit. This is a joke. Some of y'all must forgot, bro. Pat McAfee can go. He can go, bro. And look, most likely Gunther will get his win. He'll get the win, right? He's going to chop Pat McAfee a couple times, and I'm sure Pat McAfee will get his spots in as well. But for the most part, look, this is obviously a match for Gunther to win. And who knows, maybe Gunther shows up on the Pat McAfee show and attacks Pat McAfee. Just imagine just the views that we'll get. So it's a smart move. I have no problem with this. I know people do. People aren't happy with this. They're not happy with potentially Logan Paul facing Jey Uso. That's just sad fucks to you. Those are sad fucks at the end of the day. Okay? But it is what it is. After this, we saw Jey Uso confront Sami Zayn backstage. At the end of the segment, he was hit with a titanium punch by my guy, the Maverick, Logan Paul, which he knocked him out cold, and Paul called it karma. for what Jey Uso, that coward, super kicking Logan Paul, right? After this, we saw Jackie Redmond interviewing Io Sky. She explained that she saved Rhea Ripley tonight because Rhea saved her last week. And Ripley came up and said that she didn't want her help, but that they're even now. And Sky will be heading to NXT tomorrow. Yeah, so Io Sky will be tonight in a couple of minutes or so. She will be on NXT tonight. I think it's going to be her and I'm reading this. It's going to be Io Sky and Jordan Grace going up in a tag team against Julia and Roxanne Perez. So that should be a fun match for the most part. NXT overall should be a good show. I think we're also going to get on the show Joe Henry after what happened at Rebellion when Trick Williams attacked Joe Henry at the end of the show. You're also going to get Ricky Saint defending the NXT North American Championship against Lexis King. And also, I guess like a face-off or a match. I don't know what it is, but it's between Stack Lorenzo and Tony D'Angelo. So I look forward to seeing it for the most part. And I think also you're going to get Hank and Tank defending their tag titles against Josh Briggs and the guy from Pro Wrestling Noah, his Japanese tag team partner. I don't know his name. I don't want to butcher it. So out of respect, I'm just going to call him his partner from who's on Excursion. So overall, should be a fun show for the most part for NXT tonight. But overall, look, I do think though, look, it's not over between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. They could run a match back, probably a Backlash or maybe on an episode of Raw, but we'll see how that goes. But after this, we did get the segment between Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn, where Sami Zayn had to make his decision, and Rollins was waiting for the decision. And they spoke about how close they are outside the ring. You know, their kids are their kids, right? They both have kids, and their kids, whenever there's like a gathering or so, they play games and all that stuff. Any kids would, right? They're very friendly and all that stuff, very respectful. They talked about how, again, their kids play together. Rollins said that he would never forget the advice given to him by Sami Zayn about fatherhood. And Zayn, through tears, said that everything Rollins says about the relationship outside the ring is true. But inside the ring, Rollins is playing games. And Zayn defiantly stated that one day he would be a world champion. But it would be it would not be because of a favor. And he told Rollins to go to hell. And then Rollins sent out Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman in his corner. Zayn was going to wrestle in his street clothes as Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins watched for what was going to happen at ringside. And the match happened. Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn. Look, Braun Breaker just beat the living shit out of Sami Zayn in this match. Sami Zayn got some offense in, got some offense in for the most part, but really, to be honest, again, it was one of those things where, look, it was a good way to establish Braun Breaker, his dominance, right? Again, he's supposed to be the future, right? And for the most part, he looked impressive. And a referee stoppage. And somewhere in this match, too, like, there's a moment in the match where Braun Breaker was spearing Sami Zayn left and right? And Rollins wanted him, that being Sami Zayn, to hey, we can make the stop. Just make your decision, right? It's not too late. And then you hear Sami Zayn tell Rollins to go to hell. And the referee stops the match. And obviously, they're, the crew, right? The personnel, right? The agents and all that stuff try to stop all this to no avail. He gets, that being Braun Breaker, spear Sami on the outside. They get him in the ring. And then Seth Rollins hits the curb stomp on Sami Zayn to end the show, right? And again, just a visual, right? Look at that, right? But overall, I thought that's how they ended Raw. It was good. Again, very good storyline based, right? For the most part. So I enjoyed it, right? But let me know your thoughts in the chat. As always, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Much love to all of you guys for tuning in today. Thank you all once again. I know, look, there's computer issues. I've seen Sami Zayn go through much worse. Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. Which group is better, Rock's crew or Heyman's Killers? It's too early to say. It's really, really too early to say. But we'll see how far the Heyman Killers can go. That's not a bad name either, but I just don't think they'll use it in today's climate. I hope Steve is ready for a great episode of Sad tomorrow night. Tony told me to remind you, Steve. Look, it's crazy, right? We said this last week on Sad. We missed a Sad the Wednesday that I left for Vegas for WrestleMania weekend, and that was a great episode, right? And then we do a Sad last week, and it just it shot the bed, right? For the most part. What's going on, Venom? Hope all is well with you, brother. But yeah, guys, much love to all of you. But in next week, though, on Monday Night Raw, it will be Rusev versus Otis next week on Monday Night Raw. You're also gonna get Penta versus JD McDonough. Is also made official at Backlash. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria, as Lyra Valkyria defends the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch. So there's that in the rematch from their match from NXT a while back, where Lyra did beat Becky for the NXT Women's Championship. And of course, you do have made official Pat McAfee versus Gunther, which should be a fun match for the most part. Should be a fine one, to be honest. And also potentially Logan Paul versus Jey Uso for the world title. Sign me up. And of course, we already know what's going to be headlining Backlash in St. Louis. John Cena defending the WWE World Undisputed Championship against his longtime arch rival, Randy Orton, for the last time, bro. It's taking me back to 2007. I cannot fucking wait for this, right? I cannot wait. They're going to play the hits. They are going to play the fucking hits. I'm just saying that right now, okay? But yeah, guys, Miyu Yamashita versus Time with Tony Storm on Dynamite tomorrow. Should be a good one. I'm not familiar with Miyu Yamashita. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not familiar with her work. I've seen her a couple times here and there. Didn't she face Natty at Bloodsport? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she do that? I just want to know. All right. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Much love to all of you. I hope you guys enjoy NXT that goes live in about 10 minutes. I'm going to try to be tweeting throughout NXT tonight, okay? So if you guys want to check out my thoughts throughout the show, it's on Twitter at HeelSteven. All right. But again, guys, look, there was no Steve's Kitchen yesterday because I had things to do. My apologies. But we will be back to our regular programming with Steve's Kitchen this coming Monday. Also, tomorrow, it will be the return of Sad Something About Dynamite. Tomorrow, where we'll be watching AEW Dynamite. If you're a channel member, only $2.99 a month, you get to basically join us, myself, Alan, Chief, and watch Dynamite with us. Okay, if you're an ATB channel member, hit the join button next to the subscribe button. Also, ATP is also live on Kick. So if you have a Kick streaming account, hit the follow button there. Going forward, we'll be live on YouTube and Kick. Okay, that's the way it's going to go down going forward. YouTube and Kick. All right, join us there as well. We're trying to grow that Kick channel as well, because I know Kick is very laid back with their rules and stuff. So there's that too. Okay, and there'll be times where we'll be streaming only on Kick. Just letting you know a heads up. So I suggest you guys, links in the description box, by the way, on YouTube to the Kick channel. Head over there, follow, and yeah, all right, all that fun stuff. All right, much love to all you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. You guys know where to check me out at HeelSteven. Follow the Around the Point Network over on X at AT Point Network. And I also have to fix I have to fix this, by the way. I have to fix this because Gunther's no longer the world champion. I've been out of the loop. I forgot to fix this, so I will fix this. Have it ready by tomorrow. All right. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you all for watching. Much love for myself and the gang, all of you guys tuning in. I'm Steve, and this has been the Raw Rundown here on the Around the Point Network. Peace out, everybody.